All right, good afternoon everyone and welcome. My name is Megan Tucker. I'm the Government Relations Director for the American Heart Association. Thank you all for being here today. It's wonderful to see such a strong show of support for healthy school meals for all. I'd like to begin by thanking our amazing bill sponsors, Senator Sandra Cano and Representative Justine Caldwell. Please stand up. They have been incredible champions, and we greatly appreciate their leadership. I'd also like to thank the 42 organizations that make up the Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition. 42. That's incredible, and that number continues to grow. So thank you to the members of the Rhode Island Healthy School Meals for All Coalition. And thank you to the senators and representatives who are here with us today. We have a full speaking program this afternoon, so let's get started. Please join me in welcoming our Senate sponsor, Chair of the Senate Education Committee, Senator Sandra Cano.
Thank you, Megan. Buenas tardes. So I am super excited to be here with all of you and way more excited to see the students and all the coalition members gathered today to really talk about a topic that is really dear to my heart, but also very concerning that we haven't taken care of as of yet. So I want to recognize Red Cowan. Thank you so much for your leadership in the House. Representative Phyllis, thank you for being here. And I also want to recognize the senators that were here before, Senator Quesada and Senator Acosta. Thank you for your leadership and support as well. As we know, no child who is in a school should ever be hungry. Let's say that again. No child who is in the school should ever be hungry, nor should any child who's hungry be shamed for family circumstances out of their control. The free and reduced lunch program has been a godsend to so many children and families, but its motto is outdated and needs to be changed to adapt to changing times. More and more families are finding themselves struggling with daily finances while our economy continues to go in uncertain and concerning directions. Due to our country's current economic climate, more of our kids will be going to school hungry, and simply put, this cannot happen. A school should be and will be safe havens for our children, and this includes being a safe haven from hunger. In order to protect our children from hunger, while also protecting them from bullying and and easing the financial burden for many families, we have introduced legislation to make school lunches and breakfasts free for every child. Let's say that again. We introduced legislation so everyone would have breakfast and lunches free in every community. This will ensure that no children will go hungry throughout the day. It will ensure that children will not be bullied for being poor and getting free lunch. And it will help them grow numbers of families who are rightfully concerned about the rising cost of everything and the striking numbers in their bank accounts. Most importantly, without the stress of an empty belly or the worry of where their next meal will come from, this bill will allow our students to focus on their learning as it should be, but also in healthy choices, which also it is very a priority for us. I want to thank you all for supporting this important piece of legislation, and I want to make sure that you all pay attention to the students. They are our boys, and I am really excited to have student voices with us here today, but teachers are also concerned. So this is a common denominator. We all want breakfast and lunch for all students in Rhode Island, and we should make sure that we keep the momentum and get this bill passed so no child in our school ever goes hungry again. I do know that Red Caldwell is going to touch on the importance of this bill when it comes to school performance. And as a mom and legislator, we share the same passion. So I would like to welcome our Representative Justine Caldwell, Deputy Majority Leader and bill sponsor in our House. And thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Before I start, I'd like to thank my friend and colleague in the Senate, Sandra Cano, for her work in the Senate. And also my House colleagues are here. Representative Leo Felix, who will be speaking, Chairman McNamara, Representative Handy, Chairman Bennett, Chairwoman Donovan, Chairwoman McEntee, Representative Stewart. I think that is I thought I said, sorry, Grace. You were the first on my mind. Representative Diaz, of course. I think Rep. Donovan, I think I got everyone. Okay. Thank you all for being here. We're so appreciative of all your support. Like Senator Cano said, I know you've all heard me speak a lot about this issue, so I'm going to speak briefly so you can hear from the student and the teacher voices, who are the folks inside the schools who deal with this every day. But we do hear a lot of issues in our educational system up here at the State House. We hear that we want better test scores. We hear that we want, better attendance, that we need to help our kids with their mental health. In our House Committee on Education recently, we heard from survey works that only 30% of students felt like they belonged at school. And how sad is that? How sad would it be that any kid felt like they couldn't belong at school because they couldn't afford to have food at lunch and breakfast, and they sat there alone and ashamed and hungry? And we also hear a lot about childhood nutrition. Those are a lot of big problems, and we know that the bill introduced by Senator Cano and I to provide universal school meals, that's breakfast and lunch, for every public school student could make an impact on all of those issues, on attendance, on test scores, on nutrition, and on mental health. This is the biggest bang for our buck to help our educational system in Rhode Island. So when people say that we cannot afford this program, I say to them, we cannot afford not to have this program. I hear a lot also that we should only be feeding the families who need it. We should only be helping the families who need it. Well, what I also say is that all kids need to eat, and that no matter how much money a family has at home, that does not correspond to parents packing a healthy lunch or remembering to put money on a school account, of which I am also an imperfect parent in that way, and in many other ways, but sometimes in that one in particular. Right now in Rhode Island, if you're a family of 4, if you're a family like mine and you have 2 working parents and 2 school-aged children, you do not qualify for school meals if you make $55,000 a year or more. Now, I bet in the state of Rhode Island in 2024, it's hard to thrive as a single person living alone on $55,000 a year. So right now, we know that the program that we have today is not helping even close to every family that needs help. But the reality is every child deserves to eat free of stigma, free of how much money their family has or what their family would pack for lunch at school. They deserve 2 healthy meals that they can enjoy with their classmates and get ready to tackle a very long day of hopefully fun, but also a lot of rigorous learning. So thank you. And with that, it is my honor to pass it along to my House colleague, Representative Leo Felix, who is the co-chair of the Rhode Island Black, Latino, Indigenous, Asian American, and Pacific Islander Caucus. Thanks, Leo.
Hello, everyone. So great to be with you all and to see you at this event today. So first and foremost, I really want to thank the sponsors of this legislation, Senator Cano and Representative Caldwell, for their work and their leadership in ensuring that this legislation passes and that you all are here today. So thank you. So as a co-chair of the Rhode Island Black, Indigenous, Latino, Asian American, Pacific Islander Caucus, this bill is one of our top priorities, as it aligns with our mission to advocate for marginalized communities across the state of Rhode Island. For those that don't know, our caucus has 21 members, representing about 18% of both chambers, and we are dedicated to advancing the interests of marginalized population throughout our state. Food insecurity is a really pressing issue for families across Rhode Island, and we've heard in terms of statistics. And it's particularly bad when it comes to when you compare the high rise of groceries today. Last year alone, 29% of households struggled to afford food, with an even higher rate for those families that have children, and that's about 38%. These challenges disproportionately impact communities of color at alarming rates of food insecurity, about 48% of Black Rhode Islanders, 51% of Latino household, about 40% for everyone else. Moreover, the pandemic has exacerbated existing inequality, in health and economic well-being, further deepening these disparities. And research has consistently shown that hunger hampers academic performance and behavior in the classroom. Conversely, access to free meals enhances the student health, attendance, and academic achievement, especially among marginalized populations. This legislation directly addresses these disparities by ensuring that all children have access to nutritious meals during the school day, regardless of their socioeconomic background. Removing the financial barriers fosters a more inclusive and equitable learning environment for all. Additionally, by providing universal free school meals, not only do we benefit individual children and their families, but we also strengthen every single one of our communities and our future workforce, because healthy children are better equipped to contribute positively to being better members of society as adults. In conclusion, this legislation represents a critical step towards tackling food insecurity and advancing equity in education, particularly for children of color across Rhode Island. So let's do the right thing. Let's pass this bill for the betterment of all of our children and our communities. So thank you. And next, it is my pleasure to welcome David Veliz from the Director of Rhode Island Interfaith Coalition to Reduce Poverty. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Felix, and thank you again to all the sponsors who are here for this bill. My name is David Veliz. I'm the Director of the Rhode Island Interfaith Coalition to Reduce Poverty, a coalition of faith leaders throughout all religions that believe it is our moral obligation to fight inequality and poverty. I'm here because supporting this legislation and this initiative is both professionally and personally really important to me. Or maybe it's because I think it's controversial to feed children. Maybe it's because I work and live with the idea that we must do what's right. We must champion justice and fighting for those that are most vulnerable in our state. And this is what this legislation is. It is the right thing to do. Maybe it's because as a child, me and my siblings, if we didn't eat breakfast or lunch at school, we didn't eat. That was the reality. And as you've heard, there are many impacts that this has on children, but one that I know for sure is how it impacts your spirit, how it impacts your view on the world, and how it impacts your hope. You know, sometimes it feels like the real reasons why we do the work we do and care for the things we care about gets lost in meetings, in bills, in budgets. Sometimes maybe it's because we've become accustomed to how things are, or maybe it's because we know how long and awful sometimes the road to change is. But I have hope. I have hope looking around this room, working with this coalition. The Interfaith Coalition to Reduce Poverty is proud to be a member of. I'm also on the board of the Rhode Island Food Bank. Shout out to me. I'm filled with hope, with all of these advocates getting together that truly believe that we do the things we do because we care, we love our communities, and we care about those people who are struggling right now. I want to leave you with two quotes. One, because I work for the Interfaith Coalition, is from our religious texts. It says, "Feed the hungry and help the troubled, and then your light will shine from the darkness." That almost verbatim sounds like feed the children and they'll grow up amazingly. The other quote, I go to one of our hip hop authors and philosophers, Ghostface, who said, "Free lunch held us down like steel." Now that quote is very old. I'm not gonna say, but I'm gonna age myself, but I think it's from the 90s. I forgot what year that song came out. But I've pondered on that quote so much because it's just a lyric in a song, but it shows to the strength that free lunch can provide for children who are hungry, And I am happy to support this personally, again, and professionally. Thank you, everyone, for your time. See, I almost messed up too. And forgive me, whoever's coming up, for your name if I chop it up. I want to welcome up Mia Victorino, student at Davies Career and Technical High School.
Hi, my name is Mia Victorino, and I represent the students at Davies Tech and others across Rhode Island, and I'm in support of Bill HB 7400. As a student, I am able to see into the school and experience firsthand what students go through when they can't afford lunch. I can assume that you are all familiar with the experience of working long hours and being expected to deliver the highest quality work possible. Now imagine doing that on an empty stomach for 8 hours straight in 7 different classes. I have witnessed numerous instances of students going the entire day without eating and begging for food from friends to avoid getting a headache, stomach pain, and simply being able to focus in class. Our school nurse has had multiple students come to her office complaining of headaches and stomach pains because they haven't eaten. Why? Well, because they can't afford it. Making school lunches free will help students be able to get the nutrition they need without having to pay for and/or rack up debt. A study published in the Journal of School Health shows that most school lunches make up about 30% of fruits and vegetables as a student eats. 30% is a lot if you think about it when a student doesn't get much. As of 2022, 31% of Rhode Island households are food insecure. That's roughly 339,000 of the 1.96 million people in the state. FRAC shows that making lunches free can help reduce food insecurity by 3.8%. Imagine that, being able to help 12,000 people. It's a small amount, but it's impactful. Of course, my math might be a little off, but it's an incredible thing. Less homes would have to worry about feeding their child 3 meals a day when they are getting 2 for free at school, meaning they can focus on producing higher quality dinners for them at home, helping boost their nutrition and overall mental health at home and at school. In the end, making lunches free is a vital step in helping our community's children receive a good, proper, nutritionful meal. Thank you all for listening, and thank you, Senator Cano and Representative Caldwell. And now I'd like to present Priscilla Rodriguez Reyes.
Hello everyone, I hope everyone's doing great. My name is Bricia Rodriguez Reyes. I'm a junior at Classical High School as well as a project leader for our Young Voices youth program. The Free Healthy Meals School bill has been one of the most important things to me ever since I joined Young Voices. When I learned about the food insecurity happening in our state and how so many of my peers, and myself included, were harmed by the lack of healthy meals in schools and the lack of access, I realized that this bill could be a huge change for our community. We need free meals for those who can't afford their lunch. There are thousands of homes in Rhode Island who are forced to make a choice between paying for their kids' school lunch or paying their rent. We can help them with this choice by offering kids in need free healthy meals. Kids don't have to go through having no food during lunchtime and then having a test the next period, or not having the choice to eat because they can't afford to eat lunch. There are 35,760 kids who have food insecurity as of January 9th, 2024 in Rhode Island. These kids deserve to have free healthy meals for their school lunch. Healthy meals that offer different options are necessary in schools as well. I see peers of mine who can't eat their lunch because it has gluten. I see some of my peers who can't eat the cheese soup or the pizza and can't drink the milk because they are lactose intolerant. Some of my peers who are Muslim can't have their school lunch because there is a possibility that it contains gluten. Not to mention, there has been a rise of food waste, which majority comes from kids throwing away their school lunch. If we create healthier and more flavorful meals, then this could solve one of Rhode Island's main problems. To try and find what other students felt about their school lunch, we co-created a survey with the Healthy School Meals Coalition and found out that many students wanted to eat at school but felt that they lacked healthy or culturally responsive meals. We also found that we can increase the number of students eating in schools by making sure that lunches are free and flavorful. With this bill, we can ensure every single student eats their school lunch and loves it. Having this bill passed shows not only promise, but a future for Rhode Island. A future where food waste isn't a problem anymore, where food insecurity doesn't exist, where parents don't have to worry about their kids having enough food at school. Please support, fight, and advocate alongside me and my many other kids who need this bill to be passed. I would like to welcome to the stage Chelsea Anderson.
Good afternoon. Can we give those high school students one more round of applause, please? As an educator, it makes me really proud and really excited to see youth voices representing your colleagues, your peers, and people who don't necessarily have the space to share their voice, so thank you very much. Once again, my name is Chelsea Anderson. I am the middle school band director at Martin Middle School in East Providence, and I am here to support our bills and our legislation for universal lunch and breakfast programs for our students. As a fifth-year teacher, I started my career when the COVID-19 pandemic began. During that time, I saw food security for our students and families was a top priority in my district, and school meals were offered to students at no cost to families. Students were able to eat and take food with them at no cost. Families could come to the curb, pick up food, they would make it work for them. Students had access to breakfast and lunch items for free as part of their school day. That means nutritious calories to help fuel their learning. Even in some of the toughest times of teaching, students were able to come to school and feel secure with the amount of food that they were able to get and even bring home to others. As a music educator who has been at elementary and secondary levels, food insecurity causes more than just hunger. Students who have access to food are more likely to be focused, better behave, and better able to manage their emotions and reactions during the school day. Our students are constantly growing. Proper daily nutrition is key to our students growing physically and educationally. Students fight exhaustion and tiredness when they are not eating enough, causing students to potentially be sent out of class and even face consequences for it. We can encourage and assist students in their educational careers by removing the barrier to access to quality food. With inflation and a lack of resources since the end of COVID funding, families are still struggling. A number of families may fall just outside the eligibility criteria to qualify for free or reduced lunches, but still end up struggling and end up having to make very difficult decisions when it comes to their families. For our students in East Providence, if they do not pay their lunch tab, it puts the schools and school department in the position of accruing these balances, trying to chase down the families to pay or pay off the balances owed. This balance can follow the students all the way up through high school. Parents do not have access to student grades if they carry a balance. And in addition, should the balance follow students up to graduation, they are not allowed to walk at graduation with their peers and their teachers who have seen them grow and become the wonderful humans in our district. All this over something that humans are required to have in order to survive and thrive. As one of our foster grandparents reminded me, school is sometimes all our students have. Whether that's educational, emotional, or food support, we have to address the whole child. Thank you very much for your listening to me today, and I hope that we get this passed. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce Andrew Schiff from the Rhode Island Community Food Bank.
Thank you, Chelsea. I'm the last speaker in the program. So I want to make sure on behalf of the entire Healthy School Meals for All Coalition to thank all of our wonderful speakers, to thank Representative Caldwell and Senator Cano for their leadership. Rachel Flem also noticed that we have, in addition to everybody else that got thanked, Rep. Boylan, Rep. McGaw, and Rep. Shawcross-Smith here with us, and Senator Cruzado. So thank you all for being here, but this is really just the beginning. We need to win the support of more representatives and more senators, and this is where you can help us. So be in touch with your representative, your senator, and ask them to support healthy school meals for all. And absolutely do it today if you're here. If anyone needs help, soon we can go down to the House and the Senate, and you can greet your reps and senators. We have members of the coalition here who would be glad to accompany you, right, Stephanie? Stephanie would, Rachel would, right? We would be glad to help you find your rep and senator. But also, tell your family members, tell your friends, tell your colleagues to go to this website, rischoolmealsforall.com, and urge them, they can do it on that website, to get in touch with their rep or senator. We want to show that we have grassroots support all across the state. This is urgent business for the food bank. We've seen a tremendous increase in the number of people coming for food assistance in the last year. 25% increase right now through our network of food bank member agencies. We're serving 80,000 people each month. Over a third of those served at food pantries are families with children. And as I said in my testimony before House Finance last week, I would rather see kids in line in the cafeteria with their friends than see kids in line with their parents at a food pantry. And let's make sure that all kids get the healthy food that they need at school. So David believes I had to, include scripture. So I'll include scripture. This is from the Bible, Genesis chapter 9, verse 7. Go forth and multiply. Thank you all.